These plates have been sitting in an attic for over 30 years. Tonight, they're back on a table. And this dinner party, it's not a whole Pinterest board plan. There's no 12-course meal and no color-coded seating chart. It's burrata, salad, pasta, and meatballs. It's setting the table, pouring some wine, and actually sitting down. Because hosting isn't about performing. It's about sharing a meal with the people you love. So after about 30 plus years, my mother finally said, it's time to get this out of my attic. And here we are with a brand new fresh dinnerware set that is gorgeous, absolutely stunningly beautiful. And if you follow me on TikTok, you know this is not the first time you are seeing this, and that there's some lore behind these plates. If not, let me give you the rundown on these. This dinnerware set belonged to my father's first wife. Her name is Lori. Lori picked this out, I imagine, in the early 1980s. I think her and my father got married when he was like 25, 26, and my dad's old. So that would have been 1980 on the dot. And you know what they were selling at the big box store? This china set. Although a lot of people online said that they have only found this in England, and it does say Crownford China Co., Staffordshire, England on the bottom. The pattern is called Calico Blue, and it's beautiful. My dad's first wife unfortunately passed, and he kept this. My mother is his third wife, and it's been in their attic for the 30 plus years that they've had their house and been married. And it's just been sitting there. No one's been using it. So finally she said, "Get this out of my house. I want this." She said, "Do you want it?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I want this dish set." So here we are. And I love it. I'm in a blue and white moment, and a lot of you also love this, and it really worked out perfectly because I thought, what better way to break it out than a quick little weeknight dinner party? Okay? And it's the perfect way to show you all that a dinner party does not have to be every single Pinterest perfect, beautiful, oh my God, we're doing a table runner and linen napkins and custom menus and blah. Now, don't get me wrong, this is Clark's Tables, and I love me a good table setting, a linen, a flower arrangement, a whole floral down the center. You know I'm extra. But sometimes we just don't have the time, and sometimes what's more important is spending time with people, dishing out some food and hanging out. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to throw together what I'm calling the anti-Pinterest dinner party that you can throw together after work, on a weekend, for 2, for 4, for 10. It's easy, and it's a classic. And it's some of Clark's favorite food, which is Italian. Bellissimo. And I can't wait to christen these with some beautiful, beautiful, delicious Italian food. I will say I did put them in the dishwasher. So sorry to whoever told me not to do that. Now, I know we said no Pinterest board, but I think everyone deserves fresh flowers in their home, whatever the occasion. And guess what? They had ranunculus at Trader Joe's, which are these beautiful little dainty, if a flower and a fairy combined, they're gorgeous. And this dinnerware set came with this beautiful picture, so we decided to double it up and use it as a little pretty vase. The only thing I want you to remember when it comes to arranging flowers is do whatever you think looks beautiful, and just don't use the floppy dead ones. Before your guests come, if you're doing a meal that you're going to serve out of the big pots or big serveware, put your plates down first. It makes way less work for you. Or if you're going to serve them buffet style, put them out on the counter already. It's just one less step you have to worry about after you're done cooking. The hardest thing we got going on today is some meatballs. We're making my favorite meatballs, which are mine. You know, everyone, we really need to invest in a new cutting board sometime soon. So please, if you have any recommendations of brands, please leave them in the comments for me. So the way I make my meatballs is I prefer to do like a mixed meat, whether it be pork and beef, or that's usually, wow, what I end up doing. Those are the two most common meats I personally eat, but I know some people who do like veal or lamb because you can get those ground, just whatever type of ground meat you want. And then I usually add in, instead of just ground pork, I like to do some of the Italian sausages. So these are mild. Spicy ones are delicious, but you got to make sure, if you're doing them for guests, you got to make sure they can handle a little kick. Not all my friends and family can handle that, so much safer to stick with a classic mild Italian sausage. Just adds a little bit more flavor, and the differentiation in meat adds a little bit more texture. I'm just taking the casing off of these. Super easy. I just, with my sharp knife, I just slice right down the center. You'll see it start to split apart. Makes it really easy to just pop that off. Okay. Let's build the balls. While I get these eggs out, I'm going to use 2 eggs for this, but I'm also going to use 1 egg because I'm going to make some Caesar dressing. Now, when you make Caesar dressing, you need a room temp egg. And because I need this room temp in like less than 30 minutes, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take like a ceramic cup. We're going to get some water piping. I do have a tea kettle over there, but I worry that would be too hot. So we're just going to make sure the sink water is really hot. Can you see that it's steaming? Probably not. I'm basically trying to get this cup hot. Okay? This cup's pretty hot now. Now I'm just going to put the egg in. Cover it with a little dish towel. Bada book, bada boom. Okay? Back to the balls. Let's break out our seasonings. So, obviously we're going to do salt and pepper. Nice little helping of kosher salt. Fresh cracked pepper. I have been looking for new places to get peppercorns from because I love tri-colored peppercorns and I haven't had them in forever. That's just black peppercorns in there, but I'm looking. I'm on the hunt. Does make a difference. We're going to do Italian seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder. You can add in fresh but cooked down onions and garlic if you like that. Sometimes I think it adds a little bit too much moisture for how I like my meatballs, so I will only do that if they are cooled completely, because tonight this is very last minute. We're just sticking with the classic seasonings. Now let's do some breadcrumb. I just cracked open. These are both new. So we're going to do some classic breadcrumbs, but these are Italian seasoned. And then I also like to add in some panko style ones because I think panko or crushed up actual like crackers give a really nice texture. So either one of those, one of my favorite crackers to use in meatballs is Ritz crackers. Because I am the queen, I do have fresh herbs on hand. Thank God. Because meatballs are just so much better with a little bit of freshness inside. So I'm going to do a little fresh basil. This parsley's looking a little sus. No. Okay, fresh basil only. I'll add a little more dried. There's already some parsley in the Italian seasoning, but I just like a little bit more. And we'll also grate up and add some fresh Parmesan. Yeah, that's actually so beautiful. Okay. Then there's two ways you can cook these. You can either pan saute them, or you can put them in the oven. Oven is kind of a little more hands off. So if you have things to do, or people are coming over sooner than you think, put them in the oven. Ball them up, put them in the oven. I would do like 400, because you basically want them to get nice and crispy on the outside. For how long? I have no idea. 20 minutes? That sounds maybe right. If you're doing them in the pan, which is how I'm going to do them, I just do it till on a high heat till they get nice and browned on the outside and a little bit of olive oil. And I'm going to show you that. You see her? She's gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to get a spoon because I have long nails on and no gloves. And this would be a disaster. Make sure you break up the eggs good too. I've got the pan on high heat right now because my little portable burner is a little small. That's the only reason I got it on high heat, so that way it can like distribute. Classic stovetop, I would do this on like medium high, and I put it in this big pot because I want to be able to just add sauce to this right after these are brown so they can finish cooking in sauce. Get that nice flavor. Basically, the only element I'm making fully from scratch tonight is this. Everything else is real simple. We are making Caesar dressing, but that's mainly because I got anchovies on deck that need to be used. And if you reach a point when you're making these where your pan gets a little too full and you still have half your meat left, don't be afraid to just brown them and then take them out and add them all back in with the sauce, because you need enough room to move them around. That way they can each get browned and crisped up, and then we can just add them all back in. Don't be afraid of that. But at least we use the same pan that they can add that nice little bit of flavor. These are going strong. We have like half the meatballs done. These are browning up. And then we are going to put them all back in, let them cook in the sauce. And while these continue to brown, we're going to make Caesar dressing. And this is kind of the balance we're going for. I made homemade meatballs. We're using bagged pasta. We're using store sauce. I got bagged lettuce, but we're going to make the Caesar dressing. Now, the first thing, the best part about having this cup that made our egg room temp is it doubles as a thing to catch the white, because we are only going to need this egg yolk. Egg yolk. Okay. I should have let this heat up too. If I have leftover anchovies, I always just put them back into the fridge, because the anchovies I buy almost always come in oil and they'll just solidify. Keeps them fresh because it's airtight, basically. But then if you don't let it warm up, you're kind of digging them out of goo. It's 2 for 1. You know, I really do have plenty of counter space. The problem is I'm not good at optimizing it. All right, we're getting 1 anchovy fillet, because I don't like my Caesar too anchovy-y. And you can either break this up with a fork or chop it really fine. The last couple times I've pulled them fresh out, they didn't really break up with the fork, so quick little smear with the knife into the egg yolk. I forget, when do I put the lemon juice in? I gotta look that up. Can you tell I'm just a epic multitasker? A little dollop of Dijon, nothing too crazy. Some lemon juice. Alright, before we mix that all together, our meatballs are looking pretty much done. We might have a couple quick sides just to touch up, but these are going to be ready to add back in. And what we're going to do, pasta sauce is over here. What we're going to do now is add these back in. So we have all of our big old meatballs together. And then I'm using the Rouse homemade vodka sauce. Whole thing in. And then just a little water too, because this is a lot of meatballs. And this just gives it a little bit of time to soak it up, to nicely marinate, work together, and to finish cooking the meatballs. Now at this point, I don't want to move these around too much because they're still very soft. I don't want them to come apart. I'm just trying to get them all down in the sauce. Then once these have cooked for a hot minute, I'll come in and give this a full-fledged stir. So now I'm going to move this back to a standard burner. Just cover it and put it on a low heat, okay? Until your peeps start arriving. And then we can just throw some pasta together, okay? But now you got some homemade meatballs. Let's finish our Caesar dressing. So we have our little base here. I'm going to add in a little bit of lemon zest as well. Not a ton. Just a little smidgen. Get everything nice and mixed up. And now we're going to very slowly add in our olive oil. See how it turns this like really pale color? That's how you know it's good. Okay, that's looking Fabulous. Now I'm going to do a little salt, pep, just a pinch of salt. I like a lot of pepper in my Caesar salad, so I'm doing like a big crank, prominent. Then what we still have to do is we're going to add in our Parmesan cheese, because no Caesar salad is complete without it on the greens and in the sauce. And then I'm going to add a couple dashes of Worcestershire sauce. So now we have a nice homemade element here, a homemade element in the meatballs, and then we're doing a little appetizer. Once everyone starts to show up, which should be very, very soon, I'm going to just put out some burrata, and we're going to dress it up with a little kosher salt, some balsamic glaze, and some basil. Put that out with some crackers for everyone to enjoy while we quickly finish up. And it's a nice way for everyone to sit down and enjoy. And it took us all of what, 40 minutes? Now that these are done, I will see you at the table.
And the best part is when it stops being about the food and starts being about who's walking through the door. I think one of my favorite ways to host is around my kitchen island. Moments like this where I didn't set out anything special, everything around this is actually a mess, and yet somehow people can still gather and enjoy with me. At this point, I don't have to worry about much else. The Caesar salad gets tossed, we top it with some nice fresh Parmesan cheese, the pasta's been boiling in the background, so basically everything is nice and ready and fresh to be set out on the table for everyone to enjoy. There's something really satisfying about empty plates. Not because everything was perfect, but because it was shared. If you like this kind of hosting, simple, meaningful, maybe a little imperfect, you can like this video and subscribe. I'd love to have you here. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'll see you at the table again soon. Bye!